How many people can understand this? I think a lot. Many. Everyone. At some point. Because even though we fight for life, right? Yeah. But life begins when God blows breath into the nostrils, as it says in 2:7. And when a baby is first born, their first cry happens because the air burns their inner nostrils, proving Genesis 2:7. That's what happens when a baby is born. Their first cry is because the air burns their inner nostrils. And they cry, expel the lungs, or not expel the lungs, expel the air from the, not expel, expel the fluid from their lungs, and they become a living creature. Breathe. Breathe. But you're born into physical. The physical body becomes a life. But you're separated from God. This is an example of separation that everybody has. And then people will, go to the church, okay? And then what? They get baptized, and many times it's like, there's something missing. And then the churches become mega churches and try to put on these fancy shows and big bands. And it's like, it's still missing, right? Yeah. Because the churches don't know. And then people will go to the doctor because, that when you get to this place, when you finally feel like, what is this all for? What is the point to this place? Young people don't really go through this too much. I think some do, though. When you had the left and their safe spaces, the right went crazy. And see, the problem is the right goes too far right, and made fun of that. And it's like, and then they carry on like with the attitude of facts don't care about your feelings. Okay, so that's just being an asshole and shows you're a hardened heart and an empty, that this is the problem with you too. But the safe spaces is likely because of the same reason. So let's like just have a healthy balance here, okay? Because to say that facts don't care about your feelings again just makes you a total asshole. And I'm on the right. So Jesus had feelings. Feelings were an important part. So to just make fun of it, I understand it to a certain degree, but why has it all gone crazy? To both extremes on both. Why? Because of this. Because everyone has this. And everyone fills it in a different way. Alcoholics try to fill it with alcohol. None of the ways work. Workaholics fill it with work. Sex addicts will fill it with sex. Gamblers will fill it with gambling. Some will fill it with something more, maybe more along the lines of healthy. But ultimately, there's only one physician that can fill that. You go to the doctor, they're going to label you with a whole bunch of depression, whatever, and put you on something, and maybe it'll help for a little bit, and or go to counseling. That's because ultimately, if even the counselors and the physicians understood that everybody is born separated from God, and everybody will reach this place where they say, what the hell is this whole place for? Yeah, it's not God's kingdom. So you're born separated from God, but Jesus made a way. Jesus made a way to fill that hole so that you could have the Spirit of God back. And God would like to return paradise to earth, because that's what his plan is. So then everybody born, once that happens, will be born this way, and no more will you have people feeling like, what's the point to this? What's the point to my life? Well, the point is, and this doesn't appeal to people, but if enough people could understand this, they'd surrender and work for my desire is God's kingdom. Because the more people that have the light, well, the more the factions die on the left and the right. The more the adversary one, the prince of darkness, loses power, because then you have too many people with the light in them. But right now you have a ton of Christian churches with people that may be saved, but they don't have the light in them. Because there's so many that go to the church, and then it's like, what? There's something missing, right? I mean, that's why the churches were created, not because, they were. That's why God didn't want the structure of the church, because it wasn't a representation of Him. This is. And to get this, you have to realize your will, man's will, got everybody in this place where you eventually realize there's this human ache, this human longing, and you don't know what it's for. You just, at some point, look at your life and say, what the hell is all of it for? What is the point? What is the point to all the letters after my name? What is the point to all the money? What is the point? What is the point? Well, it's to keep you thinking that all of those things that Nick Fuentes or Charlie Kirk or LGB tell you is what's needed. They're all just vehicles that the Prince of Darkness uses to keep you from surrendering. They want you to fight for this or fight for that, and this is right and this, and none of them are right, because ultimately it's a human ache that everyone has, that nothing in this fallen world will fill. Only God returning to fill that empty place will then make you realize what you really want to be striving for. This is Satan's greatest fear, is this. Because the darkness can't handle the light. So it does everything to keep everybody, the rich, the poor, the enslaved, the free, the educated, the non-educated, all knows every way to keep everybody focused on, it's about your dreams and you getting letters after your name and you getting, $10 million in your bank account, whatever it is, okay? Whatever. It's all about you. But in order to be filled with the Spirit of God, well, you have to either realize through total defeat that you need God and you surrender and you want His will instead of your own. Or if you don't want it to come at a defeatist level, then just start surrendering to Him and keep doing it. Don't do it just because you want something out of it. I mean, everybody should want His kingdom, because he didn't tell you to love this kingdom. But what does this world do? They want you to love it. They want you to have your best life. Why would they say that? Well, because they get every young person to believe that it's all about this one life and then it's all over. So, live it up. Yeah, but it doesn't, your true life is with God. Not that you can't have families. It's just being back in the garden where you have your families, but you have eternal life in a glorified body. It's not your spirit flying around. Those are all the ways that Satan wanted to get you to think that you can't have God's kingdom, because he likes to live in the dark. But you want to start fighting for the light. And the way you get there is you got to surrender to God. You'll fill that empty place. You'll realize how ridiculous this kingdom is, regardless of country. Not that you shouldn't be America has been the example of God moving people, but there's been a stagnation that's happened, which is why we've gotten even more factions, okay? But what your desires and dreams should be is to be filled with God's Spirit. Surrender.